Bit of a funky hair going on today. So hello, hi. If you're catching this live, thank you very much for joining us. If you're catching this on replay, please do give us a hashtag replay. So I am Stacey Dudley, the founder of the Clarity Circle, a company that assists people with their personal and professional development. So that means allowing us to use our wonderful tools and words of wisdom, guidance through many hours of education and personal experience to raise your conscious level of awareness and also to bring you clarity within your world to bring ultimate joy. So in celebration of International Women's Week, we have had an array of incredible people sharing so many tools and resources. I mean, you might not necessarily need them now, but there may come a point where you think, actually, I remember seeing something about that topic. And you can go over to our YouTube channel and you will find all of the replays. Not only that, if you are interested in catching the replays yourself and also receiving the resources and links to the help that you might need, please do go to my link in my bio. I feel like one of the kids when I hit subscribe to a link in the bio. Click through and sign up to our International Women's Week link, and you will receive all of our emails and many more wonderful words of wisdom and tips from moi. So we have the incredible Shell with us. Shell is a trained coach and get my words together there. And she is a incredible advocate. Is that the right word? Expert and assistant for men's mental health and coaching men. So she has the Legacy Lounge. So we all need a legacy, don't we? So I'm going to hand over to Shell to share a little bit, well, a lot actually. We don't know where this could go. I'm actually going to check to see if we have comments on this one because we're here tonight, so we may as well be of service to many people. So thank you so much for joining us, Shell. So I'll hand over to you.
Hello, hello, hello. So as Stacey said, I am Shell and certified spiritual life coach with the amazing Clarity Circle. And we have now formed the wonderful Legacy Lounge, specifically geared towards the men. While I say I appreciate that this is Women's Week and it's geared towards women, my specialism is men's mental health. So I want to talk to you about how we can support the men in our lives with their mental health. Excuse me a minute. I mean, as women, we are quite happy and open to talk about our feelings and thoughts. You know, you ring your friend and like, oh goodness, this has happened. And, you know, we'll go to our friend circle for advice. Men, not so much. And they have this stigma as well that's in society with, you know, they were told as kids, you know, big boys don't cry and you've got to be a man, and it doesn't always serve them well as much as, you know, it's when they're little and we go, oh, you know, boys don't cry, but it's something that we need to encourage. And as part of the Legacy Lounge, this is what I want to do. So phrases like these start really, really early, obviously, like I said, when they're kids, and it creates damage for them, you know, for our brothers, for our sons, even for our fathers. And for many boys or men that struggle with this, they often turn to alcohol or substance misuse, which then we all know after a drink, the problems don't get better. Once you've kind of come out of that high, the lows are really low, and it just, you know, that vicious cycle starts.
Don't you find though, I mean, when we talk about this and we talk about women being open with their emotions and feelings, and we are encouraging men, but there is this huge stigma. It's the taboo, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I've done it myself. I'd say, oh, you're not a girl. Get up. Stop crying. You know, being a mum to 4 boys. And then now I'm like, they're so precious at that point, and we need to let them know that it's okay to feel a certain way
Yeah.
of how they feel and be validated and understood in that way. We're not saying to stay in that moment, we're saying we can understand them. And between the ages of 0 to 7, you
Yeah.
know, we are forming our blueprint for the rest of our life. And we run from that blueprint, which is 95% of our subconscious mind. 5% of us is conscious, and that's generally when we wake up. And I had a discussion about this yesterday morning because we have an alarm on our phone. And when I was getting up, this alarm is a little bit negative. It's a wonderful song, but
Yeah.
and I said, oh, and it was sticking in my mind
Yeah.
hours and hours and hours. So if you imagine that at the first point that you wake up in your day, imagine a child is constantly like that with everything.
Yeah.
They're like this sponge that's soaking in every single part of that runs around their system. And the men really do get a bad rep for it.
Yeah. And I think, like you said, as mothers of sons,
Mm.
mental health is really close, especially in men, to my heart because of my son and my father. They both struggled with mental health. My son in particular, he was away at university. He'd already been away from the age of 16, had moved away to Gloucestershire, quite a way away. And it was his 4th year, and he was starting his 2nd year at university. And I noticed some changes in him, and he would come home at the weekend, and it was a particular weekend, and he just was so reluctant to kind of pack his bag to go back. And I was like, you don't want to go, do you? And he's like, no. So I said, don't pack your bag, don't go, it's fine. But the reason he held on for so long was because he said he didn't want to disappoint me. And that's where I was like, you will never disappoint me. So we always have to, yes, they want to do the best for us, but of course we have to reassure them that it's okay to not even to fail, but to not carry out the things that they want to do, that we expect them to do. But he came home, and we spoke about it, and he actually then went on a really big transformational journey. He actually came home and got an apprenticeship as a PT, and now he's running his own business and starting an online coaching course. So we've always been very open, and I've said that you're always open to communicate with me. And now he knows when those triggers are, and will very often call me up and say, Mum, today's been a bad day. I know it's a bad day, but I know it's only going to last a day. Whereas previously it would go on for weeks. But he knows those triggers now. And with certainly my coaching from the Clarity Circle, I've been able to pass on that advice, and he notices those triggers, and he knows how to deal with them. I mean, that's only very minor, but there's a lot of men that have been through stuff. My father was abandoned as a child. And it wasn't till probably latter part of last year that I was aware of this. And it's the first time he's ever spoken about it. He was always a man of very few words, and was not very good at kind of expressing his emotions. And his sister came over from Canada, who we hadn't seen for 50 odd years. And it was only then that he said, from the age of 6, I felt like people just left me. And unfortunately, at the time he was struggling, there wasn't the help out there that we've now got. So this is why, in your words, Stacey, we want to create this tidal wave of letting men know that it's okay. It's okay not to be okay. It could be that they were bullied at school. They were a bit different. My client now, he's such a vivacious character, but he said I was always criticised at school because he liked musicals and he liked dramas and he looked a bit different and all of that. But with the help that I've given him, he's now embraced that, and he's realized that he doesn't have to wear a mask anymore. He doesn't have to people please, and that people actually really like him for just being him.
Mm.
And the offers, the opportunities, the friendships that he's now formed because he truly believes in himself is just, it's magical.
It's
So
it's so hard, isn't it, to be somebody that you're not.
yes, you
It's
can only hold that for so
yeah,
long. Yeah.
yeah. I think there's a standard like quote around after meeting somebody for around 3 months' time, after the 3 months mark is where you'll start to see their true character. If they're
Absolutely.
so if they're so used to being a people pleaser, if they're so used to being in a box, as in their family's beliefs and values,
Yeah.
societal expectation, a role of a job that's asked them to be a certain way, speak a certain way, do a certain thing. And it took me, gosh, 6 years of blood, sweat, and tears and realizations to know that it's okay just to be me.
Yeah.
And and I'm pretty cool. Like
Well, I'll second that. I'm not gonna
and I am. And I'm, I'm very good at what I do because I now believe in myself and my
yeah,
ability. Whereas before I allowed others to condition the way I thought about myself. And it's that self-belief that we need to, as women, give to our men
yeah,
and say,
exactly that.
if you're not right, if you're not feeling okay, it's okay. If you need to do what you need to do to feel better, where can we get help from? And
Yeah.
this is where Shell comes in.
Yes. I mean, yeah, we have to understand that, there's times, and I think we spoke to another lady who said that she'd spoken to her husband and he said he felt broken, which I thought was a great word. We do have to understand that men do feel broken from time to time, that they have these expectations, like you said, through work, as, taking care of a family. They're supposed to be the provider, and I think especially in this modern world where us as women are being more powerful and being in the masculine energy and saying, we can do it all, and actually sometimes we do forget, and we do have to sit in that feminine and allow them to be the masculine and allow them to kind of do the things like, oh well, we can take the bins out, but if he wants to do it because that's his role, that's
Mm.
putting him in his masculine. He feels good, that he feels good to be of service to the women.
Of service, that's the word, isn't it? Of
Yeah,
service. Naturally, the masculine energy wants to fix.
exactly that. Exactly that. And again, I think that comes from even from the boys and their mum. They don't want to let mum down. And I suppose, especially in your household, Stacey, with four boys, they're all like, mum's fabulous, but we want to be the best that we can be for mum.
Mm. Yeah.
That's why they do the things they do. Subscribe because I want to be like mum and I want to be, successful like my mum. Um, they again, the stigma is that they're supposed to suppress their emotions, to be manly and strong. But on a daily basis, the males find their themselves kind of grappling with that prescriptive and the ideas about gender. And there's so many things, all these things contribute to their mental health or their mental health decline. And this is why I think a lot of them struggle to ask for help or even know where to start looking or even to pursue getting the help. I mean, I've just got a few statistics of, in the UK alone, there's 30%, only 30% of all NHS referrals and psychological therapies are for men. Men are less likely to seek help for their mental health. There was 52% that would be concerned about taking time off work because
Yeah.
obviously that they're going to be reluctant to say, actually, I need some time off because I'm struggling with my mental health, because they're embarrassed or they're ashamed. And a real shocking one for me was that the leading cause of death for men under 50 is suicide.
Yeah.
And 75% of deaths by suicide are males, and they're 3 times more likely to die of suicide than women. That's a massive percentage. Like 3/4 of the population are men who are going to, because they don't face and they don't ask for the help, they consider that that's their only way out, which is a real
Shame.
yeah, it's mind-blowing.
And now more than ever, that it doesn't necessarily have to be that if you're a man listening to this, or if you know somebody who is struggling, it doesn't have to be led with I'm struggling. It can be I want to be better.
Yeah, yeah,
How can I find a solution to the situation that I'm facing right now? Because
yeah,
something needs to change in order for me to achieve what I would like to achieve in life. And
yeah.
that achievement might be that they get up feeling joyful, or they have fun, or they feel loved, or they are able to love again. Because we sit, if you know much about, cycles, it's the grief cycle. We actually pass through that grief cycle a lot in a day, especially as women. And, a lot of men, when factored into questionnaires and talking about mental health and, corporate networking events, and they sit in a state of apathy. So they don't love nor want to receive love. And
Mhm.
they have a clear barrier, which then literally squashes all the excitement, the joy. Each emotion and the way that we feel tells us something about ourselves.
Yeah.
And so does physical ailments. Like, let's not get me started on that, because we could literally be here.
The books in the books in the bookcase behind me.
Literally, I could be
Yeah.
here, but if you've got an earache, you've got a bad back, you've got a sore knee, let me tell you, it is some stagnant energy, a feeling and emotion that is stuck within your body that is causing you a physical ailment. If you do have one, message me. I love referencing these.
I mean, it's funny you should say that, because when I was kind of looking at how do we notice
Mm,
men, certainly with my son and my father, both showed physical signs. My son would get psoriasis, and it was always around the kind of head and the neck.
mm-hmm.
And my dad, again, the same thing. He would kind of get like a rashy sore neck. So I look out for those things now. Like, I know when he's feeling a bit off, because the signs are there, and
Sore
it's
throat.
knowing when to look for them. And if you see them, you're like, are you okay? And I think the other thing is that we ask them if they're okay, and they'll say yes.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Don't take the first answer as the correct answer. Ask
Yeah.
them again, because you already, and I always say to my son, when I'm asking you a question, I already know the answer. I know you're not okay. So,
Absolutely.
as much as they'll say they're okay, persist with that and keep checking and making sure that they're okay. It could even be, like we said, loneliness. COVID created a world of loneliness. And there was a lot of, single men, young men, who, even the boys, I would imagine, isolated, from their friends and the world as we know it was a different place, and it wasn't the norm to spend time with people. And we all need that human interaction. And loneliness was a massive contributor. And there was a lot of suicides in men during the COVID period because of the loneliness, because the worst place you can be is inside your head, and especially when you're talking negatively inside your head.
There's a lot to do with heartbreak as well. This is a
Yeah,
huge one. And it's, that age between 30 and 50. And I'm not saying it's not before or after, because
yeah,
please, think that I'm not saying that, because it applies to anybody. But what's come to our attention is between that age of 30 and 50, where there's been a breakdown in a relationship, a breakdown in marriage, and that feeling of I'm safe and secure. Men are meant for monogamy. You wouldn't think so in the world of social media. So
Really?
hashtag just saying.
Yeah.
However, they are, and that's creating that safe, sacred space in, and that partnership. And when that comes away from them, it's so a lot of people refer to this as like a pressure cooker.
Yeah.
So for me, and how I teach it, it's the layered cake. So, and the layered cake is, it's the pink, it's the yellow, and it's, and it keeps layering up, and it got a bit of sprinkles, a little bit more, and it's a little bit more, and before you know it, it's on a bit of a tilt, and then you try and cut a slice and you can't quite, because it just doesn't align till the point where it just explodes and goes
Just falls
everywhere.
apart.
It
Yeah.
falls apart. It all falls apart. It can be different, sections. And it's knowing that talking therapy is available confidentially.
Mhm.
And even if you do not have the financial capacity to feel like you can get assistance, yes, you can. We are here. We will not charge. We're not that type of people. Shell will be sharing on her page some numbers that
Yeah.
you can reach out to, as well as ourselves.
Yeah.
And if I'm not on hand, I will have another one of the qualified coaches on hand. If Shell's not on hand, one of us, no matter what time, will pick that up.
Yeah.
I've been there many times, early hours of the morning, helping, assisting people, and that helps me.
Yeah.
That helps
It is
me.
the feeling of being able to help somebody out. And I think that is one of the biggest gifts we can give our fathers, our sons, our
Right.
brothers, whatever. It's just holding that space sometimes and giving them the time and being a safe space, like you said, Stacey, for them to talk and feel open and not judged, I think is another massive thing that, I think a lot of men do feel like they would be judged if they actually opened up and said, I'm finding whatever it is in life difficult, whether it's, a relationship, whether it's works too much or they feel like they can't cope with their family life,
Finances.
exactly, finances, because, especially when you're in a family, I think a lot of men feel the pressure to provide for their family, and kids nowadays, let's face it, they're not cheap.
Not mine.
Can I have some new trainers? Can I do this? I want to do this
Football
this
boots.
weekend. Yeah, exactly. Rugby boots in my case.
Yeah.
They're certainly not cheap. So I think it's, again, just looking out for those signs, recognizing, because they're not, with all due respect, they're not very forward. They're not forward in coming forward. So some of the signs that we can see, like I said, the physical ailments, changes in their body, whether it's weight gain or weight loss. I think a lot of men tend not to eat. They're not very emotional eater. Like women, I eat when I'm down because I'm an emotional eater, but a lot of men won't, or they just don't take
I
care
have it.
of it.
I used to have a drink, but now after sober gem.
But they don't take care of themselves. And sometimes when they are a bit snappy and they're a bit angry and it's not their usual thing, or it's been going on for some time, maybe that's the time when you need to stop and say, is everything all right? You're getting on to me when normally it would be fine, but the past couple of weeks you've been snappy over things that wouldn't normally bother you.
And lead with the Brené Brown theory. Like, she is my absolute, and I talk about this all the time. Instead of saying, you are snapping at me,
Yeah.
you are this, you are that.
Yeah.
Now, it's important to say, the story that I'm telling myself right now
Exactly
is
that.
that I may have offended you or upset you because of how you're speaking to me. So the story I'm telling myself, and this is what you should do, it's always a reflection of you. So, the story I'm telling myself right now is that I've upset you,
Yeah.
and I would like to sort that. And the Brené Brown, and I need to try and share the TED Talks, it's fantastic. Her husband, they were trying to have this, they were going swimming and they're trying to, and he was dismissing her. And she said, the story I'm telling myself is that you're really not interested in having a conversation with me anymore. And she's like,
Yeah.
I'm a middle-aged woman in my swimming costume. If you're going to divorce me now, like after all of these years.
Yeah.
And And actually, he turned around and says, instead of her saying, fine, you're being mean, I'm just, and
Yeah.
off you pop and
Yeah.
you get, the silent treatment, everybody feels the energy in the house.
Yeah.
He turned around and said, no, I had a dream that one of the children drowned. And I
That's
mean,
what's,
and
yeah.
so he was trying not to have a panic attack while swimming, so he was rushing.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, right. Whereas she was saying, Brady was saying, the story I'm telling myself. And she was going through all these thoughts and emotions, and we put ourselves down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And I've been the worst one for it. I'm like, oh gosh, oh, and then next minute I'm down a tangent. I've been to the Sahara Desert and back, and
Yeah.
packed my bags 3 times over. And the way to lead with that, the way to lead in these conversations, it is effective communication, it's better communication, it's working on your communication techniques. But I feel like the only way that we can come away from this stigma of men's mental health and allowing for society to accept it more
Yeah.
is that we reframe how we say it. And it's like, okay, I'm working on myself to
Yeah.
achieve the life that I truly desire.
Yeah.
Are you creating the life that you desire? Are you looking at all aspects, the wheel of life? Relationships, finances, work environment, hobbies. There's lots of different, we have many tools and resources in regards to this. So if you'd like one of our exercises, but Shella's got a fantastic wheel of life exercise where you can evaluate exactly where you are within your world right now. So reach out to Shella or myself and we'll send you that through the Legacy Lounge.
Yeah, because I think that it also, like we've said before, that it's that fear, you want to make the change, but you don't know where to start because there's something that's holding you back. And again, that comes from the childhood thing of people telling you that you're not clever enough, you're not smart enough, you're not this, you're not that. And those things will hold you back in adult life. And certainly with coaching, we can help you work through those and move forward. I know my client has tried counselling previously and he's like, I know what the problem is, but counselling keeps me there. Whereas
That's what it did to me.
when I've worked with him, we know what the problem is. We know where his issue lies, but we've moved forward from that. And it's like, I can now, I'm done with that now. I don't need to go back there again. And he's like, I feel like it's like it's gone now. I know what the issue was, but the counselling, and I'm not saying that counselling doesn't work. It works for some people, but for him, he was like, it just didn't move me forward. I've established what the issue is. I need to now be able to move forward. And my goodness, hasn't he? He's come on leaps and bounds. He's amazing.
Incredible. Knowledge is power within ourselves, and that power allows us to dispel fear. It allows us to step into that knowing of, okay, so I'm trying to achieve something, or I'm trying to feel a certain way or do a certain thing. And there is procrastination, there is a feeling of sadness. And what it is it's a resistance barrier. And generally in the world of the language that we like to use is classed as a limiting belief. And that limiting belief is, a hurdle that we need to work through, whether we go over it, under it, around it,
Whichever way we need to go, we'll go
right
that
through the
way.
center,
Yeah.
Gemmaline. But when you're working with me, woo,
Yeah.
we're not going to hide from it. We're going to tackle it head on. We're going to understand it. We're going to reframe how we look at it, which is exactly like reframing when we look at men's mental health to actually creating the life that we truly desire. And you don't have to embark on a large coaching package. Shell offers, breakthrough calls, a catch-up session, where you can just book in and go, do you know what? There's been a lot. I don't know where to start. This lady will. She will give you some fun.
We'll pull it out. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. In the most safe and confidential space.
Yeah.
And, I've worked with many male clients, especially in the corporate sector. I tend to work with males more in the corporate sector more than the holistic sector.
Mm.
And some of them I cannot get on a Zoom call. They don't want to look at me. They're
Yeah.
like, yeah. And I'm like, no, no, well, and they're like, well, do you mind if we just have a quick call? No problem. So I've had,
Yeah.
phone conversations. I've had WhatsApp voice notes backwards and forwards, and we've
Yeah.
done a full session like that. However you feel comfortable to articulate exactly how you're feeling to, I was going to say raise your vibrational frequency, but I don't mean it like that because I'm just used to talking like that.
But yeah, I agree. There's a lot of men that don't want to physically show up. They don't want to kind of be face to face. And like you said, we can offer that, whether it's a call, whether it's a voice call, whether it's messaging,
Email.
email, anything, any kind of communication. It doesn't always have to be a face to face. And like Stacey said, it's confidential. We're not telling the world about you and your problems. It's what goes and what stays within the call and that's where it will stay.
And let me tell you, I'll be completely honest with you. There will be nothing that you can say that will shock us.
No.
Because we've heard everything and more.
And more, lots
And
more.
more. And more. And, we assist others all over the world with many different cultures. That's the big one for me
Yeah.
that I always find.
Yeah, because there's a lot of cultures that are very, very geared towards you mustn't express your emotions, you've got to be a man. And there is a lot of massive culture differences there where
Societal expectations
yeah,
and the culture that comes with it. And, with that, we're trying to be PC. I think I've done really well not to swear.
you have done amazingly well. I'm very
I
sure.
know. I'm very thanks.
Well, me too, to be fair. We've done
Yeah.
very well.
Yeah, we have done very well. Being PC, what I like to say, the best way is to say, being kept inside a box.
Yeah.
You don't have to stay in that box if you want to express yourself wholly, Nearly said a flippant comment there.
I would imagine it was the same comment as mine. You know what you can do with your box and where you can put
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. So I'm just going to go on and see if I can see any comments on here because I'm not sure. I hit stream live and then we're going to upload this to YouTube anyway. So I'm not quite sure. Oh, this to YouTube anyway. See, yeah, I can't see anything on here, any comments. There probably will be some. And if there is, or if you are a man watching this, because it's open to everybody, and you think, I'd like to explore that, there's no commitment here.
No.
Quick conversation, quick message, I'm feeling like this, or actually I'd like to achieve this. Where do you want to be? If sometimes we really like to stay in our safe, sacred space, in our home comforts, close the front door, be in our
Shut the
safe
world out.
space.
Yeah.
Yeah, order dominoes like me. Love it. But we're always going to stay in that same energy in the exact same place if we do not step out of that comfort zone. And growth is not easy.
And it's not for us women, it's not easy. Yes, we're probably more open to it, but it doesn't mean it's easy for us either.
It's the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's like
Exactly.
picking a pack of tarot cards up for yourself, and you're like, I'm fine to dish them out for everybody else. On one of the retreats last year, I was doing the cards for everyone, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll get. Everyone was like, oh yeah, 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 and I was like, do one for myself. I was like, not today.
I remember it well.
Yeah, I was like, we'll pack that one. I'm not here to be a client. I'm here to facilitate. But just this, this chat, this conversation, please share this video, please
Yeah.
direct people who need it. Ask for resources. Just say, do you know what? Do you have a few resources? Shell's site's being completed at the moment, so that should be up and running very soon. We have a dedicated group where there'll be a chat forum that's set up in there, and it will mainly be fueled by motivation, positivity, ways to enhance your life, to create the legacy that everybody should leave the world with. You know, that's what's important. Am I right, Shell? Am I on the right?
You are definitely right, and yeah, and who doesn't want to leave a legacy? I know I do. For my son, if nobody else. And
Absolutely.
he's already working on his legacy.
I just need a daughter and then I've created like,
But as women, I think we do need to take the lead sometimes in offering them and or sort of guiding them. And I think that's our role as sisters, mothers, partners, aunties, friends, whatever, just keep
colleagues.
asking that question, and allowing, creating that safe space for these men, and letting them know that it's okay, because the men's space isn't always a space where they feel safe, because they feel like they have to be the men, and oh no, we can't. So I think as women we do have to take that lead, and we have to guide them and show them the way. And like you said, our page, this YouTube video, it could change a life, even if it's one person's life. And it could be that they do things differently, and they can see a way out, and it's the better way out than they've currently got in mind. So we do need to let them know that it's okay not to be okay, and there is safe spaces for them to talk.
Yeah, massively. And they don't even have to just to say, I need help.
Yeah. And
That's it.
there's lots of ways we can help them. There's lots of ways, it doesn't always have to be the talk. It can be, cooking them a meal. I mean, for my son, when he was going through a difficult time, we went out for a walk, and I actually took him back to, there's a canal that runs behind my parents' house that he used to go to as a child. And
Yeah,
immediately I took him there. You just saw his whole body just
relax.
relax, because that's where he felt safe. It might be worth asking them where they feel that safe space is, because it could be that it's a park, or somewhere they used to go as a child, or somebody they used to visit with their granddad, and finding that place and taking them back there, and you can see the physical kind of just relax in their body. There's so many different ways that you can help them.
There
My
was
client, especially, like, sorry, Stacey,
it,
he found journal therapy was really good for him, because it was easier than the physical speak. So I said, well, when you're feeling a certain type of way, write it down.
mm,
And he will email me that sometimes when he's written something down and saying, this is how I'm feeling. So it doesn't always have to be the physical talk, like we said. If it means that you have to write it down because you can't get the words out, that's okay too. Whichever way you want to do it, we'll find a way for you to be able to communicate those feelings.
and if you are, know someone who's a loved one, a friend, a colleague that is struggling, and you want to try and assist them, and you're not sure how to approach it or where to pop resources or
Yeah.
slide a leaflet in somewhere, please do reach out to us, because we can possibly go into that workplace, possibly, give some hints and tips on how to do that. We've got plenty of links that we can share, with videos, to assist in that journey. But what I was going to say to you is, one of the ones that I read on a forum not so long ago, and it was on Andy's Man's Club.
Andy's Man Club. Yeah.
Yeah, Andy's Man Club. Was that he'd had an afternoon that was cut off because the electric had gone. And so he physically had to stop and just sit. And it actually turned out that his wife had turned the thing off.
Oh,
The
wow.
Yeah, I was like, what a fantastic idea. I mean, if someone turned my electric off when I was middle like workflow, I mean, the world, I can be extremely stressy if I need to get my work done.
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. All zen over here. Not at all when I'm getting things done. And I thought, wow, like she physically said, something needs to stop right now, and we're going to sit in this energy.
Yeah.
And I had it yesterday. Right, sit down. Let's have a chat. Like, what are you stressed for? And I'm like, well, I do. And I was like, I feel better now.
Yeah.
I'll go about my day. And sometimes it could be that.
I'm going to say, and sometimes that's all it takes is just, you don't even have to provide them with a solution.
Yeah.
It can just be, like we said, to hold
Well,
space, just to listen. You don't even have to fix them. You don't
oh
have to
no,
fix the problem.
guide them.
It can be just talk.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, that's all they needed. And while they're telling you, they're already working out the solutions because they're going, well, maybe if I did this, or maybe if I did, okay. So now we know what it is. How are we going to move forward with that? And
Yeah.
again, this is where the coaching comes in, and we give them the tools to be able to move forward. And if those feelings come up again, they know that they're there and they have the tools to be able to go,
I
okay,
can
I
hear
know
you.
what that
I can
is
see
and I
you.
can get over that and I can
Yeah.
use that tool. I like the word tool because I'm sure men like the word tools, right? Because that's what they use to fix things. So
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, if you are catching this on replay, please do hit subscribe. I can't help doing it now.
press the button.
Depending on where you are. Um, yeah, please do reach out to us, myself at the Clarity Circle or Shell through the Legacy Lounge. Like I say, the pages are on Facebook, Instagram, uh, LinkedIn. You have a fabulous TikTok, that's fabulous. But what is with the nerves today, Stacey? Yeah, if you need help and assistance, or you just want to ask a question, please do reach out. I do know that in Shell's group, I think from tomorrow, I think the update goes ahead, you can post anonymously. So you don't even have to
We don't even have to know who you are, what your name is, where you come from.
anything about you, right? Or the other thing that I would suggest, which I've mentioned to many people, is go to Gmail, set up a brand new email that's not even your name, and send however you're feeling, whatever you're thinking, get it off your chest and send it in. Send it in. Like, it's not a problem. We will get back to you. We'll put the links and email address to send anything into in a copy of this video, which will be uploaded to YouTube. I'll share it underneath the original, so you can click on the link, or please use our DMs. Please be aware, probably better to DM Shell quicker than me.
And for the ladies, if you feel like you want to help or you need help to help your man,
Yeah.
we'll come back to you as well. And again, if you want to be anonymous about that, in case you want to do it in secret,
Privately.
we know we're open. We're here to help anybody that needs our help.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Shell, for
Thank
joining us.
you. Thanks for having me, and thanks for
Yes.
listening, guys. Really
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Wonderful. So, yeah, have a wonderful evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you are in the world, as I always say. And yeah, if there's one thing that you can do today, please make sure that it brings you joy.
Yeah,
It brings you
absolutely.
joy. Definitely. See you later. Bye-bye.
Right.